Well, hello again. It's been a while. And it's the 21st anniversary of the North American release of InuYasha, The Secret of the Cursed Mask. So, of course, that means we're doing the Japanese version for the route I did earlier in the year, which was the Miroku romance route. Before we start, though, I'm just gonna pause real quick. Because there is something that I would like to address. And that's in regards to the game's title, Jūsou no Kamen. The English version of the game localized the title as The Secret of the Cursed Mask. The translated name, at least according to Wikipedia, is The Cursed Mask. However, both titles aren't exactly correct, because the mask itself is not cursed. But I do believe there are other ways to read and thus translate the Japanese subtitle of the game, Jūsou no Kamen. The two that I think would work best are Curse of the Mask or The Mask's Curse. Now, some people might think, didn't you just say that the mask isn't cursed? And that's correct. It is not. But the phrasing does matter. Curse of the Mask and the Mask's Curse do not mean that the mask itself is cursed or has a curse. It better means that there is a curse either from the mask or from the person wearing the mask. Reading it in that regard, the title makes a lot more sense given what happens in the story. And then the English title, adding the secret of at the start, for whatever reason, also actually does make a little bit of sense, because the secret is in regards to Kururugi's relation to the one wearing the mask, and the revelation at the end of the game. That is all I wanted to point out with that, so I'm just going to set things back a little. And we will be playing as Kaname Kururugi. Another thing that I will point out, since I'm playing the Japanese version, I will not be translating the entire game this time around. If you want my attempt to translate the full game, I have a VOD of the Kagome romance route available, though admittedly there are some instances where I get weird results that throw me off. Some of those I will try to address in this run. Otherwise, the only translations I will be making is anything that is new. Anything that was not in the previous that was not in the Michiru playthrough of Kagome's route. So anything directly related to Kaname and on Miroku's route will be getting translated and compared, with some cases where I simply want to check on things. But with that, let's go in.
マイコでしょ。それにトモちゃんもか。トモちゃんも？あれ、知らなかった。うん、全然。はあ、でもショック。トモちゃんとは仲良しのつもりだったのに。ま、あんたには言いづらいわよね。どうしてよ。だってまだいないんでしょ。わかりやすいな、クルルギってば。
次はクルルギ神社前、クルルギ神社前。お降りの方はボタンを押してお知らせください。
ほら、着いたよ。ねえねえ、誰の名前書いたの？
内緒だよ。
ほら、こうして人形に名前を書くの。こうするとこの人に会えるのよ。へえ、そうなんだ。やっぱ遅くなっちゃった。ごめん、お父さん、遅れちゃった。
今日は人形送りの日だと知ってるだろ。
だってホームルームが長引いちゃってさ。すぐ着替えてくるね。
ああ、待て。ここはいい。それより裏の土蔵から呉服を取ってきてくれ。
はーい。確か去年は奥の方にしまったと思うけど。横着しないで懐中電灯取ってくればよかったかな。いったたたた、危ないな。この板腐ってるじゃない。後でお父さんに直してもらわなきゃ。ここはどこ？ここは森？なぜ私土蔵にいたのに。確か土蔵の穴に落ちて。うちはどこ？お祭りの準備をしなくちゃ。なんだか変だよ。私こんなところ知らない。うちはどこなの？お父さん、お願い、返事をして。お父さん、お母さん、なんで返事をしてくれないの？みんなどこに行ったの？みんな。
Gotta say, since this is my first time hearing Kaname's voice in Japanese, as well as her friend, they sound pretty cute. I'm not gonna lie. Speaking of voices, you mind raising the volume a little? Oh, sure. One moment. There we go. Also, welcome in, Kamen Rider K.
そうだ、携帯でうちに電話をすればいいんだ。 じない。外なのに電波が通じないなんて変だよ。おかしいよ。あれは人。
And of course, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I will do my best to answer.
そうだ、人だわ。あの人たちに聞けばここがどこかわかるかも。よかった、これで家に帰れる。お母さんに会える。お父さんとも。あれ、この人たち着物？なんで着物なんて。
見つけたぞ。
え？
おい、見つけたぞ。
なんでみんな来るの？
気をつけろ、妖怪じゃ。
さらわれるぞ、さらわれるぞ。
え、妖怪？ちょっと何を言って。
妖怪め、うちの娘をどこにやった？
待って、私はただ。
さらわれる前に捕まえろ。
そうじゃ、捕まえろ、捕まえろ。
捕まえて娘を取り戻せ。
捕まえるだなんて、この人たち変だ。わけわからないよ。
逃がすなよ。逃がせばさらわれるぞ。
そうじゃ、逃がすな。
ちょっとやだ、来ないで、やだ。
No clue what these guys are saying, but I hear fight music, so I guess they're bad. So the context, since I'm not translating this, these three people are looking for a missing girl. And Kaname just suddenly appears. They see her wearing strange clothes and they assume she's a demon. They think she's the demon that stole away the little girl. So they're calling out to capture Kaname and get her to say where she took the little girl to. Kaname, considering she just got here, is confused and scared out of her mind. So she runs away.
ここは一体どこなの？私、怖い。
And apparently she's fast enough to outrun them and lose them.
お父さん、お母さん、私、怖い。怖いよ。何？今の音、何なの？何か来る。やだ、怖い。
And just something I feel I need to repeat. In the English version, they gave this demon full dialogue, completely voiced. Not present here in the Japanese version.
私、どうなったの？死んじゃったの？
よう、目が覚めたか？
人の声？ 私生きてる。あなたは犬の耳。
おい待てよ。おめえ何ビビってんだ。別に取って食おうってわけじゃねえんだから逃げんなよ。
So something that I do will also point out that I mentioned when I did the English version earlier in the year. The vast majority of dialogue in the game is the exact same whether you play as Mitru or Kaname. There are some gender differences, most of it revolving around Miroku, but the first actual difference we won't run into until we reach Kasasagi Town, so that won't be for a while. But since this is the Japanese version, we are going to get some Japanese exclusive content that was cut from the English version. For those who were here from when I did the Japanese version of Kagome's Romance Route, you'll know what I'm talking about. Or if you've watched my VOD of that. If you haven't, you're going to be in for a treat.
だって犬の耳だし、牙だって生えてるし。怖いよ、来ないで。
わかんねえ女だな。それよりおめえすげえじゃねえか。さっきの技一体どうやったんだ。
お願いだから私ほっといて。
ビカッと光って妖怪をのしてたよな。
技、妖怪？そうだ、私妖怪に襲われてたんだ。それであの光るものが。私死んだと思ったのに生きてた。どうして？私どうしてここに？
ん？そういえばおめえの服カゴメみてえだな。
気がついたらここにいたの。うちの土蔵の中にいたはずなのに。
待てよ。
この辺に交番か何か。
その妙な服からするとお前現代ってとこから来たんだろ。
交番がなかったらバス停か駅とかでもいいから。現代？
なあ。
それはどういうこと？
現代ったら現代だよ。
待って、お願い、もうちょっとわかるように説明して。
だからめんどくせえ。ついてこいよ。
行くってどこへ？
楓の村だ。カゴメに聞けばいろいろわかるかもしれねえしな。
楓の村って。
もたもたすんじゃねえよ。
And of course, the entire tutorial section from the English version is not present in the Japanese. They just take you straight to Kaede's.
そう、馬？
おい、何やってんだよ。
ここは。
見りゃわかるだろ。ここは楓の村だよ。
だって馬が。
そりゃ村だし馬くらいいるだろ。
そんな。それに電柱もないしちょんまげの人は歩いてるし、ここは本当に日本なの？
おい、何ブツブツ言ってんだよ。とっとと来ねえと置いてくぞ。
Here we go.
犬屋さ ちょっと犬やしゃ一体どこ行ってたのよ。
Alright, so this, I don't have anything to compare to, because up to a point, this is Japanese original dialogue that got cut from the English version. At least for a fair bit. I have already translated this for the, when I did the Kagame romance route with Michiru. The only reason I'm translating this again is to see if there's any difference for Kaname specifically. Okay. From the translation, Kagame saying, "Hey, InuYasha, where on earth have you been?" Okay, that's what I was waiting for. In the English version, Kagame continued with, "There was a demon just outside the village and we needed your help." But that isn't here. Instead, Kaname jumps in, getting excited about Kagame's sailor-style uniform. Let's see here. Yeah, from the translator, Kaname is calling out sailor suit, which it should be a sailor uniform, because that's the kind of uniform Kagame's school has. And in the English version, it takes longer for Kagame to notice that Kururugi is present, because she and InuYasha get caught up in an argument. But because in the Japanese version, Kururugi immediately calls out Kagame's sailor uniform, it draws Kagame's attention. And in the translation, Kagame responds with, "Huh? Oh, who are you?" And in the English version, as I do, yep. In the English version, after Kagame finally spots Kururugi and says, "Hey, who's this?" InuYasha points out, like, "Oh yeah, I found them, like, scared and alone, so I brought them here." And then Kururugi goes into this little tirade, with the translation being, "Oh good, where am I? Surely it can't be Japan. However, I'm going to take a chunk of... I'm just going to copy the Japanese text here, because I'm going to need to use it in a bit." Because since this dialogue doesn't have a closing quotation, it does continue. So, I need to figure out what the whole thing ends up saying. So as I just said from when I threw up the image into the translator, or the screenshot into the translator, the translation from Kururugi was, "Oh good, where am I? Surely it can't be Japan." But the text so far is, "Oh thank goodness, where am I? Surely this can't be Japan." So already differences in the translations, but in the translation results, but more or less same meaning. Let's see. The screenshot here. Translating the screenshot. Kaname continues with, "There are horses, people with top knots, and even monsters." Although she said yokai, so that the translation should be demons, just to line up better with what's known from the English dub. Or just keep it as yokai. One moment. Yeah, no, something got missed here. I need to check here. Because it apparently tried to combine certain text into something else. So let's see. There we go. There are horses, people with top knots, and even monsters. Yeah, again, that could just be demons or just go full translation of yokai.
携帯は通じないし、交番はないし、車も走ってないし、コンビニもスーパーもないの。
Let's see. The tirade here is... The tirade here is largely similar to what's in the English version. The only difference is instead of people with top knots, the English version instead says people in strange clothes, which... okay. From the image translation, Kaname is saying there's no mobile phone reception, no police box, no cars, no convenience stores, and no supermarkets. And that is the end of the dialogue for her, so let's see what happens when I put it all together. All together, Kaname's full dialogue from here is, oh, thank goodness. Where am I? Surely this can't be Japan. There are horses, people with top knots, and even demons. There's no cell phone reception, no police box, no cars, no convenience stores, and no supermarkets. Again, English version isn't too different with this. Instead of the no cell phone reception, Kururugi instead, in the English version says, my phone doesn't work, there's no police station. Otherwise, from the English version, it's not too different. And then, in the English version, Kagome responds with, But from the Japanese version, she's more taken off guard. With, Kururugi just kind of going off. So far, it does seem... Yeah, so far, it does seem this dialogue is the same between Michiru and Kaname in the Japanese version. From the translation here, yeah, Kagome's just kind of more gone off guard with,
あなたどこの学校？その制服どこかで見た気がする。きっと近くの学校だよね。
But then here is another bit of Japanese exclusive dialogue. From the image translation of just this so far, Kaname, what Kaname is saying is, what school are you from? I feel like I've seen that uniform somewhere before. It must be from a nearby school. Again, this is not in the English version, but Kururugi, recognizing Kagome's uniform and believing that it's from a nearby school. Note that Kururugi does not specify if it's near their own school or near their home, the Kururugi Shrine. That still leaves an implication that Kururugi at least is near Kagome's school.
私、家に帰りたい。
Let's see. then from the image translation from here, Kaname just goes, I want to go home. So let's just slap that at the end. And yeah, the full text translation is, what school do you go to? I feel like I've seen that uniform somewhere before. There must be a school nearby. I want to go home.
ちょっと待って。一体何が何だか。
And then this response from Kagome isn't from the English version, but it should essentially just be like, hey, sorry, but you're gonna have to calm down a little bit. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, there we go. Translating the screenshot, Kagome is saying, wait a second, what on earth is going on? Like, and of course she'd respond like that, because this is the first time she's seen someone else from the present in the feudal era. So of course she'd be confused, like, wait, hold up, what?
なんだか知らねえけど、すげえ勢いだな。
And then from InuYasha, according to the translation off the screenshot, he's saying, I don't know why, but it's amazing. I do think he, yeah, he said sugoi. Let's see. No, he says suge. So like, yeah, he is remarking that something's interesting here. Yeah, I think the implication here is supposed to be that InuYasha is amazed that Kaname could just go on a bit of a tear like that. In the English version, InuYasha instead says, just a moment ago you were crying.
ごめんなさい。やっとまともな人に会えたと思って、私嬉しくて。
Let's see. Here, Kaname, from the screenshot translation, Kaname saying, sorry, I was so happy to finally meet a decent person. I mean, given what happened, yeah, that's fair. Considering the last people you met were trying to attack you. Taking specifically the text, it instead changes what Kaname is saying to, I'm sorry, I feel like I finally met everyone, and I'm so happy, which, I don't think I'd take that one. In the English version, Kururugi does respond here with, I got so excited at meeting a normal person. So I do think the translation result having, I was so happy to finally meet a decent person, makes sense. Yeah, that's not gonna be another option.
それはそうよね。わかるわ。でもお願いだから落ち着いて。
And Let's see, from Kagome. The screenshot translation has Kagome saying, "That's true, I understand, but please stay calm." Let's try taking the text through the translator. Let's see. That didn't turn out all too well. I think the translation should be something closer to... I see, that's how it is. I understand. But please, I need you to calm down.
私は日暮かごめ、中学3年よ。で、こっちは犬夜叉っていうの。
And then, of course, Kagome just introducing herself. From the screenshot translation, Kagome says, "Well, I'm Kagome Higurashi. I'm in my 3rd year of junior high school, and this is InuYasha." Let's see what happens if I add that to the text. Okay.
それであなた現代から来たと思うんだけど。
Let's throw this one up. Okay, the screenshot translation for that didn't come out too well, so let's just grab the text. Yeah, okay, so the full translation of Kagome's dialogue here would be, "I see, that's how it is. I understand, but please, you need to calm down. I'm Kagome Higurashi. I'm in my 3rd year of middle school, and this is InuYasha. As for you, I think you're from the present."
そう、土蔵で穴に落ちて気を失ったの。そしたら森にいて。
Let's see. From the screenshot translation, Kaname responds with, "That's right. I fell into a hole in the storehouse and lost consciousness. And then I was in the forest." Let's just see. Yeah, okay.
やっぱり。
From the screenshot translation, Kagome is saying, "On second thought," which doesn't really seem right. So let's try taking that for a bit. Yeah, there we go. It's supposed to be, "I thought so."
あのね、落ち着いて聞いてほしいんだけど、ここは現代じゃないの。
And then the screenshot from here. From the screenshot translation, Kagome says, "Well, I want you to calm down and listen to me. This isn't the modern era." Or present, Gendai can translate to either or. Yeah, because the text translation for Kagome's whole thing here is, "I thought so. Look, I want you to calm down and listen to me. This isn't the present day."
現代じゃない？それじゃ一体。
And the conversation here is pretty much the same as in the English version. Kagome just being like, "I'm gonna need you to calm down for a moment because you're not in the present." Kururugi going, "What do you mean?" And then Kagome saying that they're in the feudal era, which surprises Kururugi because, yeah, of course. Let's see, from the translation here. From the translation here, Kururugi is saying, "Not in the present day." Then what on earth?
ここは戦国時代なの。
And here we get a little bit of the fun part. Because according to the translation, Kagome responds with, "This is the Warring States period," which, yeah, that is the accurate translation. But if you want to stick with what the English dub of the anime went with, just feudal era, and that still works fine.
戦国時代って織田信長とか鉄砲伝来とかの？
And Kururugi's response here is the same as in the English version, which is like, the feudal era? You mean the time of Oda Nobunaga and when guns first arrived in Japan? But from the translation, the image translation doesn't look that good. Because according to the screenshot translation, Kururugi is saying the Sengoku period is when you say Oda Nobunaga and Teppo Denrai? Which, I feel like that can be changed up a bit. Let's see what the text comes out with. Yeah, this looks a little bit better. From the text translation, Kururugi saying the Sengoku period. Warring States period, feudal era, whatever. Like Oda Nobunaga and Teppo Denrai? Which Teppo Denrai is just like the Teppo rifles. Which, sure. Yeah, firearms. So just when guns first came to Japan.
うん。びっくりするだろうけど、そうなのよ。
For the screenshot translation, Kagome's response is, "Yes, you'll be surprised, but it's true." In the English version, her response was, "Yes, I know it's shocking, but it's true." Kururugi just being like, "That can't be."
私も初めは信じられなかったんだけど、
Let's see here. From the screenshot translation, Kagome's response is, I couldn't believe it at first either. Which is also what she said in the English version.
だって戦国時代なんて教科書の中の話だよ。こんなの非常識だよ。
And then, understandably, Kururugi just kind of losing their mind, like, no, that can't be right. That translation result just doesn't look good. Okay, let's take that text real quick. Text. The text translation. From the translation, Kururugi is saying, but the Warring States period is just something you read in textbooks. This is horrible. English version, admittedly, did do it a little better with... But we learned about the Warring States period in textbooks in school. This is absurd.
そうよね。
Hang on, we'll get to some juicier stuff in a bit that wasn't in the English version. Kagome's response being... Yes, that's right. Which, yeah, she said that in the English version too.
畑では殺されそうになるし、妖怪までいるし。
From Kururugi. No, that translation result looks a little iffy. So let's grab that text. Yeah, alright. The translation here from Kaname is coming out as you'll almost get killed in the fields and there are even monsters around. Which I think the translation should have been, I almost got killed in the fields and there were even demons around. Because, yeah, she almost got killed by those villagers, as far as she knows, and the demon attacked her.
そう。
Just like that real quick.
怪我とかは大丈夫？お腹空いてたら食べるものもあるわ。
I just need to grab that. From the screenshot translations, Kagome is saying, I see. Are you okay with any injuries? If you're hungry, there's something to eat. Let's do a quick check here. Yeah, the text translation came out better, with Kagome saying, I see. Are you okay? If you're hungry, I've got something to eat. Which the English version cut partially. In the English version, she just responds with, I see. Are you hurt? they completely cut out Kagome offering to give Kururugi food in the English version for whatever reason.
それは大丈夫。
Let's see, from the screenshot translation here. Kururugi's response is, "Oh, that's okay." Yeah, the text translation is pretty identical with, "Oh, it's okay."
そう。この村は安全だから、しばらくはここにいたらいいわ。
Which for that, the English version just instead had Kururugi say, "I'm okay," in response to Kagome asking if they were hurt. Since they cut out the Kagome offering food, let's see, from the screenshot. Kagome's response is, "Alright, this village is safe, so you can stay here for a while." Oh, well, that's interesting. If you're playing as Mitra in the Japanese version, he refers to Kagome as Kagome-san. Kaname refers to her as Kagome-chan. That's a neat little difference, honestly. Let's just grab the text. Okay. From the text, so far, Kururugi saying, "Thank you. I'm really glad I got to meet you, Kagome-chan."
そうでなかったら、私どうなってたか。
Okay, the screenshot result has Kururugi saying, "If that wasn't the case, what would have happened to me?" Let's just grab the text real quick. See how that goes when adding it. Yeah, there we go. So, all together from Kururugi's, they're saying, "Thank you. I'm really glad I met you, Kagome-chan. If I hadn't, who knows what would have happened to me."
なんだよ、さっきまでわめいてたと思ったら急に塩らしいじゃねえか。
Yeah, we're gonna be getting to the thick of it pretty soon. Yeah, from the screenshot, InuYasha is saying, "What's going on? You were yelling just a moment ago, but now you're suddenly so quiet." Yeah, English version of this was InuYasha saying, "You were bawling just a moment ago, and now you've gone all sweet on us."
余計なことは言わないの。
And here we get the actual classic InuYasha and Kagome argument. From the text here, Kagome is saying, don't say anything unnecessary. In the English version, though, Kagome says, don't say that, InuYasha.
いきなりいろんなことがあったんだもの。わめきたくもなるわよ。
Or, no, I think she said, don't be rude, InuYasha. It's been a while. This is what happens when there's like 8 months between playing this game. Okay, the screenshot result's a little weird. From the screenshot results, Kagome saying suddenly a lot of things happen. It makes me want to scream. I don't think that's accurate, so... Huh! No, that's interesting. Apparently the translation result here has Kagome pretty much saying, don't say anything unnecessary. So much has happened all of a sudden. I feel like screaming. I mean, yeah, this is also a lot. This is a lot for both Kururugi and Kagome. Kururugi because this is their first time in a place they're not familiar with, and Kagome because, oh, there's another person from the present here. I gotta figure out how to deal with this. But in the English version, Kagome instead says you'd be crying too if the same thing happened to you. She's likely referring to if you suddenly found yourself in the present. Except he's been to the present twice now. At least. InuYasha just collecting his tongue and kind of annoyed.
しょっちゅうわめいてるやつがもう一人いるけどな。
Okay, that screenshot translation didn't come out too well. Apparently it's saying that InuYasha is saying, oh dear, the one who screams all the time. There's one more person, though. From just a text translation, he's saying, well, there's one other guy who's always yelling. I think that's supposed to be one other person. But in the English version, he responds with, reminds me of someone else who cries all the time. And of course, that just gets the two of them fighting.
ちょっと、それどういう意味?
The English version, Kagome responds with, hey, what's that supposed to mean? But from the translation here... Yeah, Kagome is pretty much saying, wait, what does that mean? Another way to read that would be, hold on, what do you mean by that? Like, she's getting a little snippy.
わかりきったこと聞くんじゃねえよ。
Let's see. InuYasha's response... InuYasha's response is, don't ask me something so obvious. Yeah. In the English version, InuYasha instead responds with, you're the one who's always crying.
自分だって怒ってばっかりいるじゃない。
Whereas here, from Kagome, her snapback is... You're always angry too. In the English version, I do think it's better worded with, you're the one always getting angry. Yeah, the text translation from Kagome is, you're always angry too.
なんだと？いつ俺が怒ったってんだ。
The English version, InuYasha snaps back with, me? Always mad? Yeah, right. Which, sure, InuYasha. Sure. Let's see. The translation here from InuYasha is, what? When did I ever get angry? You really want to go that route with her, huh? Jeez.
ほらまた怒った。犬やしゃってばほんと気が短いんだから。
From the English version, Kagome's response is, see, you're mad right now. You're always so short-tempered. Yeah, the translation result, honestly, is pretty close, with Kagome saying, see, you're angry again. InuYasha really has a short temper. I do think it should be, you really have a short temper. Let's check this. See, yeah. You really have a short temper. Yep.
誰が短気だよ。お前の方がよっぽど気が短いじゃねえか。
And in the English version, InuYasha responds with, you're the one who's always so touchy. But from the translation here... InuYasha's response is apparently just, who's the one with the short temper? You're the one with the short temper. Let's just double check that real quick. And no, that's the same. Okay. Sorry, just had to check something.
二人とも仲いいんだね。
And now we're at the juicy bit. Because, Kururugi does interject here, but in the English version, Kururugi says, you two sure get along well. And from the translation here, Kururugi is pretty much saying the same thing with, you two get along well. Or from just the text translation, you two seem to get along well.
え？あ、そっか。もしかして犬やしゃってかごめちゃんの彼氏？
Which, yeah, catches Kagome by surprise. But then, here's the Japanese-only stuff. Because here, Kururugi asks... Ah, I see. Is InuYasha Kagome-chan's boyfriend? That was cut from the English version, and they instead jump ahead a little bit. From just the text translation, though, Kururugi is apparently saying, oh, I see. Is InuYasha by any chance Kagome's boyfriend?
それは。
Which results in both of them blushing and not giving an answer. from the translation, though, Kagome's just going, that's... But, considering neither of them is denying it...
てめえ、いきなり何言いやがる?
Let's see, InuYasha's response here is... Hey, what are you saying all of a sudden? From just the text translation, he says, Hey, what are you saying out of nowhere? Same thing.
二人とも赤くなった。そうなんだ。
Oh! Okay! Kaname has a much more teasing personality than Michiru here. Because Michiru didn't have that laugh at the start, and he doesn't do that playful that Kaname just did. From Michiru's route, or from Michiru's version, he just goes, I see. The two of you are blushing after all. Let's see. Kaname, though, the translation is, wow, you're both blushing. Right. Yeah, like, Kaname is very much the more playful teasing between the two. That is interesting. From the text translation, Kururugi says, wow, you two are blushing. I see. Yeah. Kaname is gonna get a lot of fun out of this.
もうやめてよ。
Kagome's response, though, is stop it already. Or cut it out.
誰がこんな女? たく、くだらね。
But from InuYasha, this is where the English version jumps ahead to after Kururugi says, you two sure get along. With InuYasha saying, who the hell do you think you are? But from the translation here, InuYasha is instead saying, oh, well, this is interesting. InuYasha actually responds with, who would have a woman like that? Seriously, it's pointless.
照れなくてもいいのに。
I honestly forget what how Michiru responded here, because I do feel like it was different. From Kaname. Yeah, from Kaname, she teasingly says, you don't have to be embarrassed. In the English version, though, Kururugi, after InuYasha says, hey, who the hell do you think you are? Kururugi just kind of gives a bit more of a dismissed, no need to be embarrassed. But, no, Japanese version, like, Kaname is absolutely teasing the hell out of them. And I actually kind of like that.
そんなんじゃねえよ。
Let's just check this. This part was also cut from the English version. InuYasha saying, that's not true.
そんなことより、お前、井戸に行かなくていいのかよ。
And now we're just caught up to where the English version is, with InuYasha saying, like, forget all that. Don't you need to go to the well? So now we have to go try out the Bone Eater's well.
え、どうして？
お前帰りてんだろ？
あ、それはそうね。どういうこと？
Kaname being like, the well? What are you talking about? InuYasha says, don't you want to go back? And Kagome responds with, oh, that's right. Kaname still being confused, like, what are you talking about?
村の外れに骨食いの井戸といって現代とここを結ぶ井戸があるのよ。
And then Kagome just explained the Bone Eater's well that connects the feudal era to a certain point in the present.
私はそこに落ちてこっちへ来たの。
And saying that's how she travels back and forth.
それじゃ
And Kaname, or Kururugi, clues in like, oh, so if you can use it to get back, then that means...
ええ、そこを通れば帰れるかもしれないわ。
And Kagome saying, there's a likely chance you can go back home.
すごい、本当。その井戸ってここから近いの？
Also, I just realized I lost track of time. I was supposed to go for a break 15 minutes ago, so we're gonna go for a quick break. And we're back. And while we were on break, I didn't realize I accidentally muted the intermission music. Oops. Sorry to leave you all in silence like that for like 5 minutes. But there's only one other little thing for me to translate here in Kaede's village when we get to it. But after that, there's not really going to be anything for me to focus on translating until we reach Kasasagi Town. Because that's when we start getting some new stuff and the gender-specific stuff coming in.
近いといえば近いわね。この村の東の外れにあるわ。お願い、そこに連れてって。わかったわ。じゃあ行ってみましょう。
Huh. I actually didn't think I could just go here before going to the well. At least I don't think so. Anyway, yeah, let's get the translation out of the way then. Because there's this cat. On your first playthrough, this cat will not be here. Because this is a special cat. In the English version, it says, I am a mysterious talking cat. On the translation here, from the screenshot translation, it says, I am the most mysterious talking cat. And its name is Talking Cat. In the English version, they just had its name be Cat. Alright. Let's see here. Okay. From the text translation, the cat says, I'm the most mysterious talking cat in the world. Yeah, alright. This cat will only appear on a second playthrough or later, provided you saved the clear data after finishing the final boss and after the credits roll. In the English version, the cat continues here with, every time you play, I will show my appreciation by giving you points for your experience. From the screenshot translation, the cat says, To you who play again and again, with gratitude, I want to gain a lot of experience points. Something about that doesn't seem right, seem well worded, so let's see what the text comes up with. But since the cat's not done talking, we've got a little bit to go through. Yeah, here we go. Oh, that's lining up so nicely. And then in the English version, the cat asks, "What do you want to do?" Whereas here, let's see, the cat ends on, according to the screenshot translation, "What should we do?" Now let's just take that text. Slide on end here. The full dialogue from this cat, when translated, is, "I'm the most mysterious talking cat. To show my gratitude for playing again and again, I want to give you as much experience as possible. What do you want to do?" And our options in the English version, the options are take experience points or forget it. The translation here is that doesn't seem right. Let's oh no. Okay. Oh, hold on. Okay. Yeah, I see where I have to cut off. So I copy that text. Something about that does look a little weird. Okay, no, that's not coming in right. So let's try this again. Let's do each line on its own. Okay, hold on here. Text, paste, and the first one is get a lot of experience point. The second option is meddling, apparently. Okay. But let's take the experience. The cat disappears, and we're suddenly level 30 instead of level 1. That is not the level cap, by the way. That is just the highest level at which point we would have all of the learnable skills. And then the cat also gives us every co-op tech that we had from the clear save data. Just to make the game a lot easier to get to the end. Because it's like, oh, you've already gone through the game, so just rush through the boring stuff. But that'll do for translations for a while. So now we're just gonna chill. go through the game. And if anyone has questions, feel free to ask.
ここが骨食いの井戸よ。ずいぶん古そうな井戸。なんだかお化けでも出そう。そうね。
もともと死んだ妖怪を捨てるための井戸だったしな。
ちょっとそんなこと言ったら怖がっちゃうじゃない。
なんでだよ。捨てるっつったって死んでる妖怪だぜ。
そういうことじゃないでしょ。犬やしゃったらほんとデリカシーがないんだから。ごめんね。それでここから入ればいいの？ええ、そのまま井戸に飛び込めば現代に帰れるはずよ。飛び込むのね。怖いな。でも家へ戻るためだし。
何ビビってんだよ。
それは心の準備が。それじゃあ行くね。1、2の
の3だろ。
Okay, that scream's not too bad.
犬やしゃ、なんてこと。大丈夫？大丈夫じゃないかも。よかった、平気みたいね。犬やしゃったらなんてことするのよ。
いや、弾みでつい。
もう怪我でもしたら大変じゃないの。
うるせえな。ちんたらしてるから手伝ってやったんじゃねえか。
ちょっとその言い方は何よ。喧嘩してないで助けてほしい。何が原因なのかわからないけど、ここを通れないみたいね。そう。元気を出して。きっと他にも方法はあると思うから。でもこれからどうしたら。そうね。私の時は楓おばあちゃんに助けてもらったけど。楓って誰なの？この村で一番偉い人で、巫女さんなんだけどとても物知りなのよ。
口うるせえババアだけどな。
それは犬やしゃが悪さばかりするからじゃない。よくわからないけど悪い人じゃないみたいだね。会ってみたいな。そう、じゃあ行きましょうか。楓おばあちゃんはこの村の広場の西の家にいるはずよ。
I wasn't watching where I was going.
ここが楓おばあちゃんの家よ。かごめちゃんが2人。 かごめちゃんって双子だったんだ。双子？お前何を言っとるんじゃ？違うの？だってそっくり。
Guess
おい
who?
尻尾、いい加減にしろよ。
そうよ。いきなりその格好で出てくるから一瞬何かと思っちゃったわ。なんなの？かごめちゃんが子供に？驚かしてすまんかった。久しぶりに変化の術の練習をしとったんじゃ。変化？なんでそんなことができるの？なんだか化かされてるみたい。そりゃあ変化の術は人を化かすときに使うものじゃからな。そうそれであなた名前は？かごめちゃんと一緒で現代から来たの。オラはしっぽうと言うんじゃ。お前かごめの友達か？そういうわけじゃないんだけど。かごめが井戸から連れてきたのかと思ったぞ。それならよかったんだけど。何か事情がありそうじゃな。うん。しっぽうちゃんって子供なのになんだかすごく落ち着いてるんだね。オラはもう子供じゃないぞ。立派な大人なんじゃ。
生意気言いやがって。
なんじゃと？犬やしゃ。もう二人ともやめなさいよ。楓おばあちゃんのところに行くんでしょ？
てめえ尻尾。
いたたた。何するんじゃ。ああもう犬やしゃお座り。何これ？かごめちゃんすごい。これも楓おばあちゃんの力なの。さあ早く楓おばあちゃんに話をしに行きましょう。そうだね。
どうした犬やしゃ。かごめに尻尾も揃って。お主は？
こんにちは。
ほう。その格好から察するにかごめと同じ国から来たようだな。
はい。
まあそう固くなりなさるな。誰も取って食いやせんぞ。
私土蔵で探し物をしていたら急に気を失って、それで気づいたらこの世界に来てて、うちに帰りたいんです。帰れる方法を教えてください。
うちにとな。かごめの友達かと思ったが、何やら深い事情がありそうだの。よかろう、初めから話してみなさい。なるほど、そういうことか。かごめの時に似ておるの。
井戸は使えなかったけどな。
井戸？骨食いの井戸のことか？
ええ、地面にぶつかるだけで。
そうか。
それで何が原因かわかりますか？私、うちに帰りたい。
残念だがわしにも原因はさっぱりじゃ。
願いです。なんとかしてください。
そう言われてものう。
このままじゃ私どうしたらいいか。なんだかかわいそうじゃ。私もう家に帰れないの？お父さん、お母
さん。辛気くせえな。何へこんでやがるんだよ。
ちょっと犬やしゃ、そういう言い方はないでしょ。
うるせえな。うちに帰れねえからって死ぬわけじゃねえだろ。
それはそうだけど、もうちょっと優しい言い方があるじゃない。カゴメ、犬やしゃ、喧嘩は
優しく言ったからってうちに帰れるわけじゃねえだろ。帰りてえならその方法探しゃいいじゃねえか。
探す？犬やしゃ、もしかしてそれが言いたくて。
他に何があるってんだ。
そうだね、へこんでいても始まらないよね。
ああ、落ち込むのはいつでもできっからよ。
私頑張ってみる。
わかりゃいいんだよ。
One moment. Sorry about that.
もう犬やしゃったら。
そういうことならしばらく犬やしゃたちと一緒にここに住まうがよかろう。
なんだって？おい、俺はそこまでは。
私もそこまでは。
まあ待て犬やしゃ。カゴメの時もそうだったが、今回も何かただごとならん事情がありそうだ。
だからなんだってんだよ。
何かあった時にお前たちと一緒にいる方が何かと便利であろう。
うるせえな。勝手にしろ。
よかったわね。ありがとうございます。そうと決まったら村の中で話を聞いてみましょう。何か手がかりになるようなことが聞けるかもしれないし。わかった。
I thought there was an item there. Oh well.
おい、このまま話ばっかりしたって拉致が開かねえぞ。
そうね。何か手がかりになるものがないと。でも手がかりって言われても。そうね。何か変わったものを見たとかあるといいんだけど。なあ、ほら気になってることがあるんじゃが。なぜ骨食いの井戸は使えんのじゃ？カゴメは通れるみたいなのに。
And of course, Shippo here is asking why Kagome was able to use the Bone Eater's Well and why Kururugi can't. And honestly, Kagome's introduction in the Japanese version does make a bit more sense with that, because all she does is ask where InuYasha was. In the English version, she asks where he was because they were having trouble dealing with a demon. With the Japanese implication being that Kagome had been waiting for InuYasha to get her to bring her over to the feudal era, but InuYasha got preoccupied saving Kururugi, finding and trying to save Kururugi. So Kagome came through the well on her own and was like, hey, where the hell were you? So Shippo then saying, how is it that Kagome was able to use the well but Kururugi can't, makes a bit more sense in that case of, like, she just arrived back in the feudal era.
それは。あ、そっか。それは私が骨食いの井戸から来たわけじゃないから。
And Kururugi's response is an assumption that the reason she can't go back through the well is because she didn't arrive in the feudal era through the well. Of course, I have my own theory, which I mentioned the last time I streamed the Japanese version, which is that based on how long the game's story takes within the story based on voiced dialogue that happens a bit later, the reason why Kururugi can't, my theory why Kururugi can't pass through the Bone Eater's Well to get back to the present is because while they're in the feudal era, there's already a version of Kururugi in the present at that time. So the Bone Eater's Well is like, no, I am not sending you to the present because that would cause a paradox if you met yourself. Granted, the whole Kururugi can't use it because they didn't get here through the Bone Eater's Well could also make sense. Because Secret of the Divine Jewel has the main character from that game, Janice, able to use the Bone Eater's Well, but they also have a jewel shard fused to their body that allows them to do so. But otherwise, considering Sota wasn't able to pass through the Bone Eater's Well, and Kagome is the only one from the present who can, outside of Janice from Secret of the Divine Jewel, and like, it's unknown if Kururugi actually could.
ということは、骨食いの井戸みたいなものが最初に目を覚ました場所の近くにあるんじゃない？
And then Kagome's like, hang on, if you didn't get here through the Bone Eater's Well, then there has to be something near where you woke up that you came out of that you can go back through.
なんだよ。それなら最初の場所に行ってみりゃいいだけじゃねえか。
そうだね。
InuYasha is saying, then all we have to do is find that.
あ、でも私最初の場所がどのあたりだか全然覚えてない。
But considering Kururugi spent so much time running around being chased, they don't remember where it was.
だってあの時は怖くて夢中で走ったんだもの。
なんだよ、だらしねえな。 おめえ本当に最初の場所は覚えてねえのかよ。
誰か一緒だったらその人に聞けばいいんだろうけど、その時は一人だったのよね。うん。
InuYasha saying, pretty much saying, do you really not remember where you woke up? And Kagome saying it would help if you could ask someone, but when you woke up you were by yourself, isn't that right?
あ、そうだ。その場所のすぐ近くで変な村人たちに会ったよ。
And then Kururugi responds that yeah, but then remembers, oh wait, there were those people who were chasing me.
何か必死にみんなで探してるみたいだったけど。
ならそいつらに聞けばいいじゃねえか。
そうじゃなくても、その人たちが何かを見てる可能性もあるわね。
So now they just need to find them.
うん。私がこの世界に来た時、あの人たちは近くにいたはずだし。
よし、じゃあその村人とやらを探そうぜ。
Unfortunately, we've been through the entire village at this point. We haven't seen anybody who looks like them.
おい、もう村の中は全部見たんじゃねえのか？
そうだね。でもそれらしい人はいなかったよ。そうなると考えられるのは隣のアケビ村の人たちね。近くに村があるんだ。じゃあそこの人なのかも。それでそのアケビ村ってここから近いの？
And then Kagome suggests the nearest village, Akebi village.
そんなに遠くはないわ。ただって途中の道にはいろいろと出るのじゃ。そうなの。ちょっとでも村から離れると妖怪に襲われることがあるのよ。そっか。私もこの世界に来た時に襲われたものね。ええ、だから気をつけないと。
まあ妖怪っつったって俺がついてりゃどうってことはねえけどな。
確かにそうじゃな。
へへ。
お主バカ力だけはあるからの。
しっぽてめえ。
いただ。なんてことをするんじゃ。犬やしゃ、よしなさいよ。そういえばよく考えると二人とも妖怪なんだよね。犬やしゃとしっぽちゃんのこと？うん。なんか不思議だよね。妖怪なんて怖いだけだと思ってたのに。今ではこうやって一緒にいるんだから。犬やしゃは本当の妖怪とはまた違うんだけど。
おいカゴメ、余計なこと言うんじゃねえよ。
So there, Kururugi was remarking at how InuYasha and Shippo are both demons, and was under the assumption that all demons were scary, but InuYasha and Shippo are both pretty friendly. Kagome was about to say InuYasha's not exactly a demon, or not exactly a yokai, but then InuYasha steps in and says, hey, knock it off. You don't need to, like, they don't need to know.
でもいいんだよカゴメちゃん。私そういうのそんなに気にしないし。
Kagome pretty much trying to say, but it might help. The Kururugi's just like, it's alright, I don't really care.
それよりもしよかったらその村まで案内してくれないかな。そう。もちろんいいわよ。一緒にアケビの村まで行きましょう。 でもその前に旅の準備をしておいた方がいいと思うわ。そうじゃな。途中の道のりは結構険しいしな。わかった。じゃあ買い物して出かけよう。ここは雑貨屋さんよ。最低限の旅の道具はここで買うことができるわ。
まあ大したもんはねえけどな。
そんなこと言っていつもあれがないこれがないで大騒ぎするんだから。
Here we have the shop.
どれにしようかな。
We're not gonna do anything with that. We don't need anything if we're starting at level 30. And here's the world map. But before we keep going, save. Yeah, that 111 hours is how long it took me to fully translate the entire game, start to finish, on Kagame's route. Hopefully this playthrough will not take anywhere near as long, because this took about, oh, how long was it? 3.5 months? I really hope this doesn't take as long. But with that, we're gonna go for another quick break. And we're back. Now let's make our way to Akebi Village. And first fight of the playthrough. But since we're level 30, we're just gonna absolutely stomp them.
倒すわよ、絶対。はい。
It's a shame you don't have AoE.
私頑張る。やった。
よし。往生しやがれ。鬼神決闘。もらった。
ほらか。行くぞ。爆雷術。オラのおかげじゃな。いいもの見つけちゃった。
かかってきやがれ。
よし。
Oh, right, don't have energy. Whatever then.
私頑張る。やったー。よし。
There we go.
やってみる。乱れ打ち。やったー。まあこんなもんでしょ。 ちよ。ほらか。見ておれ。くらいずつ。
よし。くらえ。奇人結晶。もらった。こんな奴ら束になっても敵じゃねえぜ。
I think I need to get into another fight to mess with something.
いいもの見つけちゃった。
Actually, no, that should do just fine. One moment. Uh-oh. Nope. Okay. There we go. There we go. Just had to adjust the screen a little bit. Come on. Thank you.
いいもの見つけちゃった。
Of course, a fight just as we're leaving.
気をつけて。来るわよ。大丈夫。大丈夫。ほらか。行くぞ。爆雷ずつ。はい。任せて。当たって。やった。悪い奴らになんか負けないんだから。
Oh, not you. Here we go.
なあおい、旅の人、古寺の話を聞いたかい？なんでも近くの古寺に化け物が出るらしいが。
古寺に？ちょっと怖そうだね。
化け物つったってどうせ雑魚妖怪の類だろ。ビビるほどのもんじゃねえよ。
本当にそうだといいんじゃが。
お前さんたちも村から出られなくなってる口かい？
どうして？
いや変わった服を着てるからこの村の人じゃないだろうってね。
それは当たってるけど、どうして村から出られないの？
そりゃ雲のせいさ。最近この辺りをでっかい雲の妖怪が荒らし回っててな。おっかなくて村の外に出られんのだよ。
雲？私雲は苦手。
And here I learned that Kaname or Kururugi, because Michu as well, not very good with spiders.
私も雲はちょっと。そういう問題じゃないと思うんじゃが。
雲といってもただの雲じゃないぞ。とてつもなくでかい上に真っ白い糸で人を絡めとるとか。
白い糸で絡めとる。嫌だな。
しかも足には黒い毛が生え。
やめて。この男なんだか面白がっとらんか。
目は10以上もあり。
どう見ても面白がっとる。
おい親父、いい加減にしろよ。
すまん。娘さんがキャーキャー言ってくれるものだからつい調子に乗ってしもうた。とにかく誰かがそいつをやっつけてくれんと恐ろしくて村の外に出られんよ。
妖怪？ああ、森の古寺の大雲のことか。あいつはおいらが子供の頃から古寺に住み着いてるって話だったが、最近急に村に出てきて村人を襲うようになったんだわ。おかげでここのところ森に出られなくて困っとるんだ。
最近ってことはそれまでは人を襲ったりはしなかったの？
おいお前、なんでそんなことを聞くんだ？まさか古寺へ行く気じゃあるめえな。
だったらどうだってんだ。
いやすまん、どうってことはないんだが、とにかく今まではせいぜい寺に迷い込んだ家畜や動物を食うくらいだったんだ。村まで出てきて暴れたことは一度だってなかったさ。
ほほう、式神使いとは珍しい。
That's what Grandpa Cockadoo sounds like. Alright.
え？
お前さん、危機に陥った時に何かを呼び出したことはないかね。
それは。
I love this theme so much. I can't believe it's been 8 months since I last heard it.
お前なんで知ってんだよ。
なぜじゃろうな。
怪しいじじいだ。
ねえ、何のこと？
ああ、こいつこれでも妙な技を使うんだよ。
そうなのか。そんな大したことないんだけど。
Just to get people caught up, old man Cockadoo here, can sense something within Kaname, the power to use Shikigami. And Kagome and Chibo have no idea what's going on. InuYasha barely, but InuYasha remarks that apparently Kururugi has some kind of special ability that is related to earlier when InuYasha remarked Kururugi defeating that demon with a strange light.
それでおじいちゃん、あの力は一体何なの?
The dialogue between Kaname and Mitru with Kakuju is the same either way. The only difference is they swap certain gender-based words. So instead of Obaba for old lady or grandma, it's Ojiji for grandpa or old man. Other than that, the dialogue is completely the same.
それはの、式神といって万物に宿った神の力を使える特殊な力なのじゃ。
Now, this was something that actually took me by surprise when I first played the Japanese version last year. In the English version of the game, the description for Shikigami is an energy that exists in all living things in the universe that can be utilized by certain people. But the actual translation is that Shikigami are... The ability to use Shikigami is a borderline divine power. Because Shikigami themselves are borderline divinity. They are spirits that you summon as familiars to fight for you. The English version apparently tried to equate Shikigami to Dragon Ball's Ki, which, I mean, if you wanted to go off of the whole thing with the light earlier when InuYasha first met Kururugi, sure, but that's not how it works.
聞いてるとなんだかすごそうだけど。
お前さんの力はまだ目覚めたばかりと見えるな。その使い方も満足に知らんと見える。
うん、私ほんとダメ。仕方ないわよ。あっちの世界ではそんなものないんだし。
あっちの世界じゃと？
うん。私こことは違う世界から突然こっちに連れてこられてしまったの。
おほ、別の世界からの。それは珍しい。
このへんてこな格好を見て気づかんのか。
すまんな。わしは目が不自由なもので。
But here, Kakuju reveals that they have very poor eyesight, so they can't see all that well. They don't know what Kururugi looks like. Because Shippo remarks that you don't notice the weird clothes they're wearing, because Kagome had mentioned that they're from a different world.
格好どころか、お前さん方の顔もよく見えぬのじゃ。
So Kakuju can't see what Kururugi's wearing. It can't even tell what Kururugi's face looks like.
そうなのか。ほら、気づかなくてすまんこと言ってしまった。
気にするではない。
Shippo apologizes, and Kakuju's like, it's fine, it happens.
で、何か知ってんのか？
いや、残念じゃが、わしには何もわからん。
そう。
すまんの。
うん、いいよ。じゃ。
お待ちなさい。お前さんをこの世界に導いたものが何なのかわしにはわからん。じゃが、お前さんの中に眠る式神の使い方を教えてやることならできるが。 覚えていくか?
And while Kakuju doesn't know how to help us find our way back home, he offers to help us with our Shikigami.
そいつはすげえ。おい、教えてもらえよ。
そうだね。お願いします、角上おじいちゃん。
それでは、わしの前に来て手を握り、目をつぶってじっとしておるがいい。
体が光ったぞ。今のが式神っていうものなのか？
And that was the same light from before we passed out.
いやいや、眠っている式神を起こしただけじゃ。実際に式神を使うのはこれからじゃ。わしのそばにある石を見るがよい。この石は邪門岩といってな、式神の力に反応する石なのじゃ。お前さんがちゃんと式神を使えれば、この石は反応して割れるはず。さあ、やってみるのじゃ。
わかった。
And then we get directed to this rock, which is apparently composed of serpentine. Which is a type of rock that has scale like, I don't really know how to describe it. I don't know if it's the surface or the inside that has like a snake skin-like texture to it. And apparently, it has a volatile reaction when trying to utilize Shikigami. You don't need to summon the Shikigami itself. Just as long as you're attempting to use the power to call on them, the rock will react. And Kakuju wants us to break it in half. Now, of course, it explodes, but that's because they couldn't ask themselves to make a PNG of the rock split in half. So in the English version, you're left to assume that the assumption here is Kakuju says, try using your power to break this rock. Then you blow it up. And everyone's like, oh, damn, you've absolutely destroyed it. But in Japanese,
こんな大きな石が真っ二つ。すごいじゃない。
Kagome remarks that you managed to break the rock in two. So, context differences.
なんだよ。そのくらい俺だってよ。
And InuYasha trying to have a dick measuring contest, saying like, I could have done that. It's like, no shit you could break a rock in two. That's not the point.
張り合ってどうするんじゃ。そうよ。こんなところで刀を振り回さないでね。
うるせえな。
どうじゃ。式神の使い方は覚えたかな？
うん、大体は。
そうか。あとは実際に使ってみるのみじゃ。
わかった。ありがとう、おじいちゃん。それじゃあ、何か知ってそうな人を探しましょう。
またいずれ会うこともあるじゃろ。それではな。
Oh, and...
あ、見つけた。あなた、畑で私を追いかけた人でしょ？
Here's one of the villagers that was chasing after Kururugi before.
お前はあの時のまた誰かをさらいに来たのか。おーい皆の衆、了解じゃ。来るな妖怪め、うちの娘を早く返せ。
こいつ何わけのわからねえこと言ってんだ。
And of course, they still think Kururugi is a yokai and wants to get the little girl back, who happens to be their daughter.
犬やしゃダメよ乱暴しちゃ。ちょっと待っておじさん。この子は妖怪じゃないから安心して。
Then of course, Kagome has to act as mediator.
なんじゃと？それじゃあ、その奇妙な服は何なんじゃ？
ちょっと事情があって着ているものは違うけど、あなたと同じ普通の人よ。そうだよ、私妖怪なんかじゃないよ。
そう言われてみれば、妖怪にしちゃちょっとばかし弱そうじゃの。
やっとわかったのかよ。たく危ねえな。
わしらは普通の娘っ子を捕まえるとこだったっちゅうんか。すまんことをした。みんな余裕がなくてさっきだっとったもんで。
余裕がないって一体何があったんですか？
妖怪が娘をさらいおったんじゃ。
妖怪って雲の妖怪のことかよ。
そうじゃ。雲の妖怪が村までやってきてな。
And
うちの娘がさらわれてしまって。
And the spider demon that was being mentioned before was apparently the one who took their daughter. Why they thought Kururugi was the spider demon, I guess just because, oh, looks different. It must be in disguise. Whatever.
それでみんなで探しておったのじゃ。
そこに私が現れたのね。
そうなんじゃ。あんたの奇妙な服を見ててっきり妖怪が化けたのかと。すまん、この通りじゃ。
うん、もう気にしてないから。その代わり聞きたいことがあるんですけど。あの時近くで井戸とか見ませんでした？
井戸？いやー、見なかったぞ。
Now Kururugi's asking if they saw a well nearby.
井戸じゃなくてホラー穴とかでもいいんだけど、とにかく変なものなら何でも。
The villager says no, they didn't see anything that looked like a well, so Kururugi asked if there was like something else that was weird that stood out.
わしら散々あの辺を探し回ったが、そういうものは覚えておらんな。どうじゃみんな。
Unfortunately, no. So Kururugi is kinda shit out of luck.
ああ、あの辺りには何もなかったぞ。
そう。
せっかく見つけたっていうのに無駄足ってことかよ。
残念じゃが、楓の村に帰るとするか。待って。
So everyone's about to give up and go back to Kaede's, but Kagome, ever the altruist, is like, hold on, like, they're still having trouble.
なんだよ、カゴメ。
それで、雲の妖怪は、娘さんは見つかったんですか？
いや、まだなんじゃ。古寺まで退治に行った若者たちはそのまま帰ってこんし。
Unfortunately, they still haven't been able to find their daughter. I mean, that should make sense if they still believe Kururugi's the demon in disguise. Well, if they still believed that Kururugi was the demon in disguise.
わしが行かねばと思ったんじゃが。
何言ってんだよ父ちゃん。娘の幸だけじゃなく父ちゃんまでいなくなっちまったらオラたちはどうすりゃいいんじゃ。
悔しいのう。家をぶっ壊すような化け物じゃ。わしらの力ではどうにもならん。
なんだよ。だったら俺たちがやっつけてきてやるぜ。
And so InuYasha offers to go get their daughter back and kill the demon.
なんと退治しに行ってもらえるのか。聞いたかみんな。ありがたいことじゃ。
娘を幸をお助けください。
犬よしゃ、突然人助けとは熱でもあるのか。
Shub, of course, is surprised that InuYasha would just suddenly offer to help people, because this is around when he just doesn't do that. The beginning of this game's story, as far as I'm concerned, based on what both is and is not present in the game, begins shortly after InuYasha gets the backlash wave at the end of Season 2's content, or whatever the chapter equivalent is from the manga. Because even though the opening showed InuYasha with the Red Tetsaiga, he does not get the Red Tetsaiga at all in this game. He doesn't learn it as a technique, and even when we run into barriers later on, he's unable to deal with it because he does not have the Red Tetsaiga. So the game story begins shortly after InuYasha gets the backlash wave, and essentially replaces the content of seasons 3, 4, and 5. Why do I say that? Because in Japan, this game released a little, like, I think it was 2 episodes into Season 6, the final season of the original anime. Whereas North America got it near the end of Season 3. When the English stuff for that was airing. But that's neither here nor there. Essentially, like, there's definitely comparisons that can be made between events in this game and the story from the anime and original manga that can be directly paralleled.
歩いてばっかりで体がなまってるからよ。少し暴れてんだよ。
And InuYasha is just like, I'm only doing this because I'm bored and I want to fight something.
ほう、なるほどな。
And Shibbol's just like, oh, that makes sense.
でも
化け物つったって古寺に住むようなしけた妖怪だろ。大したことねえって。
And then InuYasha's just like not concerned. He's like, it's probably just some like decrepit old demon that's holed up in the nearby temple, picking up like whatever's weak and vulnerable. Because it originally would only take like cows and stuff earlier, so suddenly coming into the village and taking people is a little weird.
でも最近変わったって村の人が。
うるせえな。おめえに妖怪の何がわかる。いいからとっとと行こうぜ。
Which clearly you tried to point out, like saying the villagers said that the spider demon was acting weird, and InuYasha's just like, shut up, you don't know anything about demons, so just listen to just take me at my word, because I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Which, no.
ね、その古寺ってのは一体どこにあるんだ。
村の外れにある岩場の先ですじゃ。くれぐれも娘をよろしくお願いします。
And then they direct us to where the spider demon is, which is in the old temple up to the north. Or, I guess, to the east. Yeah, whatever. This will be quick. I don't really need to pick up the items, but screw it, I'll do it anyway.
いいもの見つけちゃった。いいもの見つけちゃった。
There's only a few items that I actually would want to pick up because of how useful they are. Not gonna find them until later, but eh.
いいもの見つけちゃった。 ここがフルデラか。大雲の住処にぴったりの雰囲気だね。
If I had a nickel for every JRPG that I've played that had the first boss be a giant spider monster located in the biggest room of an old rundown building, I would have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's better than it happened twice. The other game being Digimon Survive. That is a little interesting, though. So in English, Mitra and Kaname both have one of 2 things they can say when using their normal attack once they have their Shikigami. Being, Shikigami, attack, or Shikigami, please help. But from Japanese, Mitra pretty exclusively just says, Ike, Shikigami! While Kaname was Shikigami, Onegai! There's really only one item we need from here. And there's the old temple key.
きやがれ。
行くぞ。爆雷術。はい。式神お願い。やったー。私たちが負けるわけないよね。
Yeah, like it still like leads to some personality differences between Mitru and Kaname. Kaname is requesting the help of her Shikigami, while Mitru pretty much is either demanding it or directing it, but like Mitru very much has more intent to use it.
かかってきやがれ。
よし。式神お願い。やったー。大丈夫。
Ah, pass.
ほらか。行くぞ。
Not being sealed sucks.
よし。任せて。それ、やったー。悪い奴らになんか負けないんだから。
It wasn't my intent to go in there. I wanted to go down. But okay, sure. It helps InuYasha get some more energy, I guess.
見てなさい。返り討ちよ。
くすぐってんだよ。
行くぞ。爆雷術。
おし。
One moment. Just want to check something real quick. Weird. Yeah, sorry for the little resize. I was trying to mess with something. Well, he's got the 2 units of energy at least. That's good.
口ほどにもねえ奴らだな。
You know what? Sure.
いいもの見つけちゃった。いいもの見つけちゃった。 すわよ、絶対。大丈夫。大丈夫。
Alright, Shippo, just clear them out.
見ておれ。楽勝じゃったな。口ほどにもない奴らじゃの。
Save cat. Oh, wrong door. Of course, this is.
不意打ちしゃらくせ。
大丈夫。
しゃらくせ。
なんのこれしき。妖術が使えん。
Sure, when I could have just absolutely taken you all on in one shot. Get out of here. Oh, okay. Even at level 30 with no equip, Shippo can't beat that thing. Okay. Well, this goes to show that he is the weakest one in the party.
悪い奴らになんか負けないんだから。
There we go.
この先から妙な匂いがするぜ。
もしかしたらそれが。
間違いねえ。こりゃ血の匂いだ。人間の血の匂いがプンプンしやがるぜ。
And InuYasha is picking up human blood.
気をつけて犬やしゃ。この雲の糸といい、血の匂いといい、なんか嫌な感じがするわ。うん。村の人も雲の糸がどうとか言ってたし。
分かってら。けどここまで来て引き返すわけにはいかねえだろうが。
そうだけど。
分かったよ。だったらおめえらはここに残れよ。
犬やしゃ、急に何を言い出すんじゃ。そうよ、いくら犬やしゃだって一人じゃ。
And unfortunately, due to Kururugi's fear of spiders, they kind of don't want to go fight it. So InuYasha's just like, fine, you sit here and I'll go deal with it. InuYasha and Shippo, or sorry, Kagome and Shippo are trying to tell him, like, that is a stupid and reckless idea to go and fight it alone.
うるせえな。妖怪と戦うんなら一人の方がやりやすいんだよ。
But then he just shoots back with, just shut up, it's easier if I fight it by myself. I mean, the English version has him say that it's easier to fight a monster on your own, which, that doesn't make sense, but whatever. Him saying that he'd have an easier time fighting on his own would line up a bit more with his character, despite all the help he's had before, but he's got a thing. So he says that he'll go deal with it and he'll be back pretty quickly.
InuYasha のやつ、一人で勝手に決めよって。あんな言い方をしたけど、本当は私たちを危ない目に遭わせたくないのよ。そうなのか？オラにはそうは聞こえんかったが。InuYashaってば素直じゃないから。
Shippo annoyed that InuYasha would go off on his own, but let's face it, what help would Shippo really do? And Kagome's just like, it's just his way of looking out for us. It would confuse Shippo, like, I didn't hear him say that. And Kagome says, like, he's too prideful too.
そう。あれ?
However,
どうしたんじゃ、カゴメ。これまさか紫紺のかけらの気配。
Shikon Jewel is
なんじゃと
Shikon Jewel is here, baby! Time to get this pot rolling!
間違いない。近くに紫紺のかけらがあるわ。紫紺のかけらって？
Of course, Kururugi's never heard of it. Especially since it's also kind of an exclusive thing at Kururugi Shrine. Or, sorry, at Higurashi Shrine. My bad. Kururugi's is the Doll Festival of Wishes.
私たちがずっと探しているものなの。元は一つの玉だったんだけど、たくさんに割れて方々に散らばってしまって。
And Kagome giving a very quick rundown of what the Shikon Jewel is, neglecting to mention that she's the one who broke it, but that's because it's not exactly relevant.
妖怪がそれを使うと恐ろしく強くなれるのじゃ。
At this point, it doesn't matter who broke it. Point is, the shards are around. If demons get it, they get stronger. That's all you need to know.
そう、そんなものがあるのね。もしこの先の妖怪がそれを持っとるなら。
Hey, InuYasha guy, welcome in. How's it going?
スポちゃん、行きましょう。お。私はどうしたら。
So of course, since InuYasha is dealing with jewel shards, Kagome's like, okay, Shippo, we have to go help him. Alright, that's good to hear. Kaname, or Kururugi, is wondering what they can do to help.
あなたはここに残ってて。
But Kagome just says to sit still. Like, just stay here.
うん。みんな大丈夫かな?
And of course, this leads into a whole thing with Kururugi's character arc. I mentioned during the Mitru playthroughs as well, but Kururugi has this thing of thinking that they're just getting in other people's way, and they want to actually be useful. So this is kind of the start of that, where they're just told to stay out of the way. But there is a logical reason for it. Kururugi only recently awoke to their powers, and as far as the story is concerned, Kururugi has not used it yet, so they don't know what it's capable of. So they're just like, look, it would just be safer for everyone if you just sat here. We can figure shit out later.
InuYasha たちが心配してくれるのは嬉しいけど、足手まといなままなのは嫌だな。
Unfortunately, this game is also terrible at portraying the passage of time. Because as soon as Kagome and Shiba were off screen, Kururugi starts thinking, wow, it sure has been a while since they went off to find that spider demon. So needless to say, InuYasha and the others have been fighting that thing for a bit, and Kururugi just kind of been parked there.
私どうやったらみんなの役に立てるんだろう
And wondering how they could possibly be of help. And
なんだこれは。
なんなの
I honestly kind of do still prefer Kagome screaming the English version for that, because it is a really good scream. But well, Kururugi's the only one who can do anything right now, so might as well check it out. It is not looking good.
なんだ貴様。なるほど。まだ仲間がいたのか。捕まらずに済んだのならさっさと逃げればよいものを。そんなに生き血を吸うてほしいか。
うるさい
愚かな。
そいつは仕込んのかけらの力を使ってやがる。お前じゃ無理だ。とっとと逃げろ。
このまま逃げたらみんなが殺されちゃうなんとかしなきゃ
So of course, Spider blasts Kururugi. InuYasha's yelling at them to get the hell out of there. But Kururugi's just like, if I run, they're fucking dead. I need to help them somehow.
でもどうやってあれは角女じいちゃんの言っていたジャモンガン
And somehow, from the complete other side of the room, Kururugi can tell that a statue is made of serpentine rock. Damn, those are some good eyes.
どうした観念したか小娘。よかろう。前から食ってやるわ。
バカ野郎。何突っ立ってる。逃げろ。逃げるんだ。
お願い逃げて早く逃げるんじゃ
And
燃え盛る炎よ
何
yeah, same incantation as Mitru, so that's spot on.
助かった
ありがてえ。これで戦えるぜ。
くそお前らまとめて生き血を吸うてくれるわ。
Boss fight. InuYasha goes last, damn it. Oh well. I was hoping to end this in one shot. Actually, hold on. What clock types do I have? Ooh. Let's do it!
スポちゃんああスポちゃんお願い任せとけ
Give me a moment. I need to double check this. Okay. That's not the one I want. Lifesteal! Did that actually kill it? Nope. Okay. Time to bring out the fly swatter. And there. I didn't mean to skip that for you, Shippo. God damn it. Oh well. The full text was on the screen, so just in case anyone else wants to try translating this on their own time, just rewind the VOD and pause to get the screenshot of that.
それにしても礼くらい言ったらどうじゃ。そんなこといいよ。ちょっとだけど役に立てて私も嬉しいし。
まああれだな。
Also, something to note. Kaname uses uses watashi, while Mitsu uses boku when referring to themselves.
おめえも全然使えねえってわけじゃねえみたいだな。
え？これでも礼を言ってるつもりなんじゃ。ひねくれたやつじゃからのう。そうなんだ。
うるせえんだよ、しっぽ。
あれ？
なんだよ。
あそこで何か動いてるよ。雲の眉みたいな形してるけど。まさか雲の卵じゃないわよね。かごめちゃん変なこと言わないでよ。
おめえら何怖がってんだよ。
お姉ちゃんたちありがとう。大丈夫？痛いところとかはない？うん、ちょっと苦しかったけど大丈夫。あなたもしかしたらさっちゃん？そうだけどなんで知ってるの？よかった。お父さんとお母さんにあなたを助けてってお願いされたの。よかったの無事で。これで一安心じゃ。
まだ食われてなかったんだな。って俺たちも帰ろうぜ。
うん。みんなすごく心配してるから早く帰ってあげて。うん、わかった。本当にありがとう。
And with that, we're gonna take one more quick break. And we're back. Sorry about that. Ended up having to wait a little bit for dinner, so kind of doubled the length of the break. So, first,
ねえ、角獣さんって言ったっけ？あのおじいさんにお礼をしていった方が良くないかしら。
tried to leave after coming back with Sachi, and Kagame's just like, hold on, we should go thank Kakuju for the Shikigami. Because we would have been in a lot of trouble if not for that.
大雲を倒すことができたのもあのおじいさんから教えてもらった式神のおかげだし。そうじゃそうじゃ、どこかの誰かさんはさっぱり当てにならんかったしの。
しっぽうてね
そうだね、そうしよう。
おや、お前さんか。少ししか時間が経っていないのに、随分経験を積んだようじゃな。式神を使う力が随分と強くなったように見受けられるが、一体何があったというのじゃ。
うん、実は。
And then we get him caught up on what happened.
なるほど。妖怪を退治してきたとは驚きじゃ。式神を使う力も上達するわけじゃな。しかもお前さんからはこれからも多くの妖怪たちと戦うことになる予感がするわい。これならあるいは。
チレってじじいだな。何が言いてえのかはっきりしやがれ。
ほら犬やしゃ、失礼でしょ。ごめんなさいおじいさん。
いいんじゃよ。式神にはいろいろな能力を持ったものがあるのじゃが、今のお前さんなら岩を崩す式神だけでなく、戦いの場で力を発揮する式神をも操ることができるじゃろ。もし戦いの式神が必要ならわしのそばに来るがいい。そしてしばらく目をつぶってじっとしておるのじゃ。
And this is where, for the Japanese version, Kakuju reveals that, yes, the Shikigami are battle familiars. They're summoned spirits that Kururugi uses to fight in their stead. Whereas in the English version, again, they still try to equate it to something similar to Dragon Ball's Ki, as there's a bunch of different ways you can use it, not just for breaking rocks. And honestly, considering it gives an image of some creature before it actually goes off, it being a summon makes sense.
わかった。
And so Kakuju is offering to teach Kururugi how to use the Shikigami. Before it was just to awaken it.
これでお前さんも戦いの式神を呼び出せるようになったはずじゃ。
おいじじい、本当かよ。すげえじゃねえか。
それでは式神を戦いの場で操る方法を教えることにしようかの。
はい、お願いします。
And now we get the tutorial on how the normal techniques, special techniques, and co-op techniques work. Normal techniques, long and short of it, normal techniques can be used as you wish, but it inflicts a weakened status, which means that you don't start moving on the turn dial for a little bit. Special techs cost energy, and co-op techs cost energy between 2 people, and you need to wait until the second person's turn for it to actually go off. If they're too far from the character who initiates it, then the co-op tech will just be cancelled. At no cost, thankfully, but still unfortunate. And each joule of energy is the equivalent of 100 points, so it costs 100 point. So it costs increments of 100 points to use the skills as denoted by the stars in the special tech and co-op tech descriptions. The English version, for whatever reason, instead of using the same star logo, they just use an asterisk, which, I mean, sure, I guess you could read that as a star, but what? Like, they had the icon in the code. Why not just reuse it? Then again, considering the little energy jewels don't even look like stars, they'd probably go like, what the fuck do the stars mean?
どうじゃ、式紙を使った戦い方は分かったかな？
まだ不安だけど、大体は。
今はそれでよい。そのうちに自由自在に操れるようになるじゃろう。そしてもっと経験を重ね、式紙を使いこなす力を高めることで、戦いの式紙だけでなく、さまざまな式紙たちも使えるようになるはずじゃ。
本
当？ああ、本当だとも。さあ、もう行くがよい。またどこかで会う時もあるじゃろう。
わかった。ありがとう、各自じいちゃん。
And we get a story locked technique. I mean, it's Raging Flame in the English version. This is pretty much your go-to normal tech for damage.
またいずれ会うこともあるじゃろう。それではな。
We try to leave again now.
なあ、サチとかいう娘、無事に家に帰れたのじゃろうか。
And Shippo's...
ちょっと様子を見ていかんか?
And now Shippo's like, hey, like, we should probably check in on Sachi to make sure she made it home okay.
そうね。お父さんたちも心配していたし、行ってみましょうよ。そうだね。そうしよう。
皆さん、よくぞご無事で帰ってきなさった。
本当にありがたいことですじゃ。娘からあんたらのことを聞いてお礼をと思って待っとったんじゃよ。
これで村が妖怪に襲われることもないはずだわ。ね、犬やしゃ。
おかげでこっちはひでえ目にあったけどな。
いや、全くそうじゃろう。 恐ろしい化け物だったでな。ところでこれは娘を助けてもらったお礼なんじゃが、受け取ってはもらえないじゃろうか。
And thank us for saving their daughter. They're gonna give us some money.
これはお金？なんだか受け取りにくいな。
But Kururugi is a little too modest for their own good. A little too humble. They're like, I didn't do anything, so I don't deserve this. I can't take it.
そう言わんで受け取ってくれんか。すまんことをしたお詫びの気持ちもあるんじゃ。
ほんの少しですが、何かのお役に立つじゃろと思って。
でもああも言ってくださるし、ありがたく受け取っておいてもいいんじゃないかしら。
And so Kagome had to say, like, it's fine. Like, they're trying to apologize and thank you for saving their daughter. Like, just take it.
じゃあいただきますね。ありがとう。
それでは皆さん、本当にありがとうございました。
お姉ちゃんたちありがとね。
Now we can actually book and leave. This stream might go a little bit. Although, considering I was on break for an extra 5 minutes, yeah, it's only fair. Beforehand, let's save.
おお、帰ってきたか。
ただいま、楓おばちゃん。
どうだった？何か手がかりはつかめたのか？
それが。
Well, you see.
でも、式神とかいうすごい力が使えるようになったんじゃ。犬夜叉がやられそうになった時に、その式神の力で救ったんじゃ。
うるせえんだよ、しっぽ。
あれだってみんなが動けるようになっただけだし。
And again, Kururugi just being incredibly modest. Like, I didn't really do anything. All I did was free everyone.
まだまだ頑張んないとみんなのお荷物になっちゃうよ。
まあ、多少時間がかかっても無理せず焦らずに行くことだ。さあ、今日は疲れておるだろうから、もう寝た方が良いだろう。
ほら、もう疲れてクタクタじゃ。そうね。それじゃあおやすみなさい、楓おばあちゃん。戦国時代って聞いたときはどうなることかと思ったけど、友達もできたし、頑張っていけるかも。ねえ犬夜叉、今日は息抜きにお休みにしない？
Hey, it's time for a day off event.
休み？
突然どうしたんじゃかごめ。初めてのことばかりが続いて、とても疲れてると思うの。少しのんびりしてみるのもいいんじゃないかなと思って。なるほど、かごめは優しいの。オラは賛成じゃ。
しかしバラバラで行動するのもいかがなものか。
え、誰？
なんだ、妙かじゃねえか。
And this is where we first meet Myoga. If you're playing the English version, you have a chance of meeting him earlier in the tutorial area before you enter Kai's village, so long as you got into a fight on the first screen. And it has to be on the first screen. You can't have left the first screen and then gone back in. It doesn't count.
ちっちゃい人？この人は誰なの？
これは初めてでしたな。わしはInuYasha様のお目付け役の明賀と申すものじゃ。
ちょっと危なくなるとすぐ逃げ出すくせにお目付け役だと。
The English version also added a whole bunch of dialogue for that section that is not present anywhere in the game.
まあそれはさておき、先ほどのカゴメからの提案ですが、私も賛成いたしますが、周りは妖怪だらけ。念のためにできるだけ組になって行動した方がよろしいかと。
確かに明賀じいちゃんの言う通りね。危険な目には合わせたくないし。では2人で一組となって休みを過ごすというのはどうじゃ？賛成。InuYashaはどう思う？
ああ、まあいいんじゃないか。
本当？じゃあ決まり。今日は誰と一緒に過ごしたい？
We're gonna spend the day off with Kagome, because that's what I did in the English version. That's because there is a difference between Michu and Kaname on their first day off with Kagome. They both start the same, but the ending is pretty different. Whereas Michu is kind of an idiot and doesn't know what he's doing, Kaname is more of a klutz and is incredibly prone to cutting herself. Or injuring herself.
ありがとう。
今日は天気もいいし、のんびりと昼寝でもすっか。
いいの。オラも付き合うぞ。さあ、私たちも行きましょう。 今日はどうするの、かごめちゃん。
Alright, so let's translate this then. In the English version, Kaname asks, "What are you doing? What are you going to do today, Kagome?" From the translation, if I could grab the text, just to be extra sure. From the screenshot, from translating off the screenshot, Kaname is asking, "What are you up to today, Kagome-chan?" While from the text translation, Kururugi is asking, "What are you doing today, Kagome-chan?"
このところ、みんなろくなもの食べてなかったでしょ?
Let's see. This one's got another part to it, so I need to grab the text off that. From the English version, Kagome responded with, "Well, no one's been eating very well lately." But according to both translations that I'm getting, from here, Kagome is instead saying, "You haven't been eating much recently, have you?" Specifically referring to Kaname.
何か美味しいものでも作ろうかと思って。
Or Mitru, because, again, same dialogue here between both of them. In the English version, Kagome follows up with, "So I was thinking I could make a good meal." And according to the translation off the screenshot, Kagome is saying, "I thought I'd make something delicious." And yeah, throwing in the text. Sorry about that. Translating just off the text, the full dialogue here from Kagome is, "You haven't had much to eat lately, have you? I thought I'd make something delicious." So the intent here is Kagome is looking to make food for Kururugi, because they're like, Kururugi hasn't really eaten anything since they arrived, as far as anyone else knows.
かごめちゃんすごい。みんなの健康を考えてるんだね。お母さんみたい。
In the English version, Kururugi says, "Wow, Kagome, it's so nice of you to think about everyone's health. You're like a mom." Let's see. Hold on here. So, I did notice something with the Japanese text and the translation result. The Japanese text does include Mina in it. I probably just didn't clue in that that's what she said. So, the first bit of Kagome saying, "You haven't had much to eat lately, have you?" Probably would be a bit more in line with the English versions. Damn it, I actually need to go back to that. The English versions, well, no one's been eating very well lately. So, I do think the translation would be closer to... the translation of the Japanese text would actually be closer to that, just because of the inclusion of Mina, because Kagome is referring to everyone. So so Kagome's translation would probably be something closer to, well, everyone hasn't been eating much lately. So I thought I'd make something. The translation of the text for Kaname's or Kururugi's is, "Kagome, that's amazing. You're thinking about everyone's health, just like a mother." Which, yeah, it would make sense then for the translation of Kagome's dialogue to mention everyone in that case, since that's what Kururugi's referring to. From the text translation, Kururugi says, "Kagome, you're amazing. You care about everyone's health, just like a mother." It's not too different from the translation of the screenshot, and it lines up fairly well with the English version.
大したものは作れないんだけどね。
Let's see. From the English version, Just make sure I don't skip it. In the English version, Kagome responds with, I can't cook anything too fancy. While from the translation off the screenshot, has Kagome say, I can't make anything great, though. Although, from just the text, Kagome is apparently saying, I can't make what I want, though. But since it continues, let's see.
ねえ、畑からお芋とネギを取ってきてくれない？
Oh, no, that actually works. That actually does work because, again, Kagome just doesn't have the ingredients right now, so... Yeah, like, I can't make what I want to make because I don't have what I need. Yeah, that makes sense. And then in the English version, Kagome asks, can you get some potatoes and onions from the garden? From the screenshot translation, Kagome asked, hey, from the field, can you get me some potatoes and leeks? Let's see. Text and add it. Okay, the text changed a little for the text translation, so let's see what the last part is, see if that clears anything up.
その間に下ごしらえしておくから。
And in the English version, Kagome finishes this with, I'll get things ready while you do that. From the screenshot translation, Kagome apparently is saying, in the meantime, I'll prepare it for you. Again, knowing that she's making food for everyone, I do feel like that needs to be reworded. So let's find out what happens when I slap it in. Okay. So the text translation result is a little weird. Coming out as, I can't make what I want, though. Hey, could you go and cut some potatoes and onions from the field? I'll prepare them while you go. I think, to better word it, you could keep the I can't make what I want, though, because, again, she doesn't have what she needs. Or, again, I can't make anything too great. But then for the next one, be, hey, could you go and get some potatoes and onions, or leeks, whichever, from the field? And then change I'll prepare them while you go to I'll prepare things while you're gone. I think that would make a bit more sense.
いいよ。
The text here. So that's easy enough. That's just Kurugi saying okay.
じゃあ行ってくるね。
And then for here, in the English version, Kurugi says, I'll go get him now. From the screenshot text, Kurugi instead says, well, I'm off. And if I grab the text, from the text translation. Oh, hold on. Never mind. For the text translation, it either becomes, okay, I'm off then, or okay, well, I'm off. So, pretty much the same thing as the screenshot translation had.
Kagome-chan, 取ってきたよ。ネギとお芋、ついでに人参も。
Let's see. In the English version, Kururugi says, Kagome, here's the onions and potatoes. I found some carrots, too. From the screenshot translation, Kaname says, Kagome-chan, I picked some green onions and potatoes, and carrots, too. Again, green onions could also be leeks, whatever. Negi is closer to spring onion, but that... I mean, that's kind of what a green onion and leek are. From just the text translation, Kururugi says, Kagome-chan, I brought some green onions and potatoes, and some carrots, too. And this is where we start to get the deviation from Mitru's. Kagome, in the English version, says, perfect. Do you think you could help me a little bit? From the screenshot translation, Kagome is apparently saying, it was just great. Hey, can you help me out a bit? I feel the first one needs to be fixed up a little bit. So let's grab the text. See. Yeah, that's a lot better. From the text translation, Kagome says, that's good to hear. Hey, can you help me out a bit?
いいけど。
The difference here with Mitru's is instead of Kagome asking Mitru to help, she tells him to set them somewhere specific. And Mitru notices that Kagome is trying to make a bento box. And yes, the English version of the game actually has them say bento. And yet later on Kagome's route, instead of manga, they say comic book. It's like, come the fuck on! In the English version, Kaname responds with, yes, I can. While here, from the screenshot translations, he says, yeah, it's fine. Let's see, what does the text say? Yeah, same thing.
あ、お弁当を作ってるんだ。
Kaname does also point out the bento, but again, a slight difference of, again, in Kaname's, Kagome asks Kaname to help, and Kaname responds like, sure, I can do that. While in Mitru, she directs him to place the vegetables he had picked somewhere, and he's like, yeah, okay. Of course. From the screenshot translation, Kaname continues with, oh, you're making lunch? It's like, no shit. She said she was making food. But the idea is that Kagome's making a packed lunch or boxed lunch, which, yeah. Like, even in the English version, Kaname says, "Oh, you're making a bento box." So the translation here being, "Oh, are you making lunch?" Or, I do feel like, sure, a bento could be translated as a box, I guess. I mean, as lunch, I guess, but I don't know. This is actually one where I give the point to the English version because it just kind of lines up better.
うん。明日また遠出しそうだしね。
Oh, the audio just kind of cut out. Uh-oh. I mean, the game's not frozen. I still see the progress icon flashing. I'm just gonna make a little save state, just in case, just in case. Let's see. In the English version, Kagome responded with, "Yes, I think we're going to be traveling pretty far tomorrow." From the screenshot translation, Kagome says, "Yeah, looks like we'll be heading out again tomorrow." Let's just grab the text. Okay. Oh, I was trying to pick up on her apron. Yeah, from the text translation, Kagome says, "Yeah, looks like we'll be going out again tomorrow."
かごめちゃん手際いいのね。すごいな。
Huh. Yeah, no, I thought the bubbling pot was supposed to keep going in this scene. Weird. Assuming I didn't skip it. Yeah, okay. In the English version, Kaname responds with, "You're really good at that. Wow." Oh, whoops. From the screenshot translation, Kaname is saying, "Kagome-chan, you're so efficient. It's amazing." While according to the text translation, she says, "Kagome-chan, you're so efficient. That's amazing."
ちょっとしたもんでしょ。
Oh, yeah. Oh, she was actually clapping too? Wow. Okay, that was not in the English version. Huh. Alright, then. From the English version, Kagome just lets out an embarrassed laugh and says, "Oh, it's nothing." From the screenshot translation, Kagome has a laugh and says, "It's just a little thing, right?" I think it should be, "Oh, it's no big deal." We'll see what the text has to say because there is more to it. No, text still just has as, "It's just a little thing, right?" And I still think it should be like, "It's no big deal."
って何見物してるのよ。手伝って。
And here we go. In the English version, Kagome continues with, "Now, why are you just standing there? Come and help me." From the screenshot translation, Kagome says, "What are you looking at? Help me." That. Yeah, the text result comes out the same too. So I do think a better wording would be, it's no big deal, right? Hey, what are you looking at? Come help me.
ごめんごめん。あんまり手際がいいんで見とれてた。
And then in the English version, Kaname says, sorry, I was just admiring your cooking ability. From the screenshot translation, Kaname says, oh, sorry. It was so well done that I was amazed. Let's see. In the text, it does start the same with, oh, sorry, but then it changes to, I was actually fascinated by your skill. I mean, all three are pretty similar.
じゃあね、まずそっちのお芋の皮むいちゃって。
Whereas in the English version, or in Mitru's version of this event, Mitru offers to help, and Kagome responds with, "Of course you are. Why do you think I why do you think I asked you here?" But then, as Kagome tries to direct Mitru on what to do, he keeps grabbing the wrong vegetables and has no idea what he's doing. Let's see, in the English version, Kagome says, first, you can peel the potatoes. From the screenshot translation, Kagome says, well, first, peel that potato over there. Let's grab the text. From the text translation, Kagome says, okay, first peel that potato over there.
これ了解、任せて。
In the English version, Kaname says, these? Okay, leave it to me. The screenshot translation came out weird. So let's grab that text. What? Okay. Give me a moment here. What the hell does that mean? Okay, yeah, that's just coming out weird. For some reason, it's transliterating ryokai, which I think is just supposed to be agreeing in some way. Like how the English version just has it as okay. So I think it could be something like this. All right, leave it to me. And then we actually hear her trying to use the knife. And, yeah. It doesn't end well for her. In the English version, Kaname reacts with, ouch, I cut my finger. From the screenshot translation, she just has a pain reaction and says, oh no, I cut my finger. Let's grab the text here. Yeah, pretty much the same. Like, oh no, I cut my finger.
あー、大変。絆創膏貼ろうかって、おいもほとんど残ってないじゃない。
And now Kagome's starting to panic, like, oh no, you're bleeding. But then it's like, wait, do you even know what the fuck you're doing? Let's see, in the English version, Kagome starts with, oh no, do you need a band-aid? Man, there's hardly any potato left. From the screenshot translation, Kagome says, oh, how terrible. Should I put a bandage on it? But there aren't many potatoes left. Kaname just went and destroyed all of the goddamn potatoes. She wasn't peeling them. She was absolutely destroying them. She does not know how to cook. Let's see. There's a second part here. Let's see.
ひょっとして不器用さん？
In the English version, Kagome follows up with, you're kind of clumsy, huh? The screenshot translation has Kagome say, clumsy, perhaps? Let's grab the text and then slap it on at the end. There we go. Kagome closes off with, are you clumsy by any chance?
実はあんまりやったことないんだ。うちじゃお母さんがやってくれるし。
And then Kaname essentially doing the, bleh. Like, jeez. In the English version, Kaname responds with, actually, I don't really know how to do this. My mom does it all at home. From the screenshot translation, Kaname says, actually, I haven't done it much. My mom does it for me at home. The text translation result is the same. So, yeah, Kaname does not cook in any fashion. And this throws Kagome off. Like, I'm sorry, what? Oh, hey, InuYasha and Shippo having a fun time together. Oh, it's this one. Just wanting to double check something. Yeah, all right.
おいしっぽ、何やってんだ？
変化の術の修行じゃ。邪魔するな。
So I do feel like I need to bring this up every time I do a new playthrough. These are completely random to show up. The other pairings off of characters will randomly show up after you do an event where they kind of chill together and it builds up their bond towards their co-op text.
修行？その割にはちっともうまくならねえな。
In this case, Shippo's trying to practice work on his transformation, and InuYasha's just like, you're still fucking trash though, bro.
なんじゃと
？So, Shippo!
よーし。今からお前に修行の成果を見せてやる。
Decides to poke the bear.
ろう。お座り。うや。
てめえ。あの野郎はどこへ逃げやがった。あ、
Now, of course, the big thing with Shibbol's transformations is that they are very much imperfect. His tail always pokes out from the transformations. However, due to the limitations of the game, they instead decide to just have his model clip through whatever he's transformed into. There's only one occasion where that doesn't happen. And it's a goddamn surprise.
確かに見事な修行の成果だな。
うるさいわい。
And honestly, we are a little over time, but that's on me because I took a bit of a prolonged break. So I'm just going to do a little save. And we're going to call it here. Next time, we will see where we can go next to figure out how to get Kaname back home. And hopefully, run into Miroku along the way. So until next time, this has been Yasha Guardian. See ya.